Hi, Scary Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain the movie Happy Death Day from 2017. Beware of spoilers. Teresa, a university student who is also known as Tree, wakes up in Carter's dorm room after a night of drinking and partying. A notification on her phone informs her that today is her birthday. Teresa dresses up and asks Carter not to say anything to anyone. On her way to the sorority house, Teresa comes across Tim, who complains about his missed texts. Teresa dismisses him, saying that they only went out on one date, and that was in fact miserable to her. At the sorority house, Teresa is offered friendly advice by Danielle before walking into her room, where she catches up with her roommate, Lori. Lori gives Teresa a cupcake for her birthday, but Teresa throws it away, saying it's too fattening. Lori is offended by this, saying she put in a lot of effort to make it from scratch. Teresa attends a class before meeting her friends. At lunch, Becky is reprimanded by Danielle for the food she has brought. Becky is frustrated and leaves, but she accidentally bumps into Carter, who spills a milkshake on Teresa. Carter gives Teresa her bracelet back and leaves. Teresa goes to the hospital to meet with Professor Gregory, with whom she is having an affair. Teresa and Gregory start to make out, but suddenly Gregory's wife comes in. Teresa just pretends to be there for educational reasons and leaves without arousing suspicion. That night, Teresa prepares to attend a party. As she is walking out of her sorority house, Teresa is being stalked by a man wearing a baby mask. Inside a tunnel, she sees a cupcake playing the Happy Birthday tune. As the masked man appears, Teresa is startled and runs away, but she is soon caught and killed. Teresa wakes up, but it is revealed that she is reliving the previous day all over again. She walks around the campus, watching the same people and experiencing the same events. At the sorority house, she tells Danielle that she is having déjà vu. Lori gives her the cupcake, and Teresa leaves it on a drawer without blowing out the candle. During lunch, Teresa is absent-minded when a baby mask draws her attention. She fails to avoid the milkshake and asks Carter for her bracelet. At the hospital, Teresa tries to talk to Gregory, who tells her not to fall in love with him. Gregory's wife comes, and Teresa lingers for a moment before leaving. That night, Teresa talks with Danielle about the upcoming party. A power shortage occurs again, and Teresa looks upset. Danielle tells her that rolling blackouts are ordinary. As she is walking in the campus, Teresa passes by the same group of students, with one of them wearing a baby mask. At the tunnel, Teresa decides to back away and instead heads back to the sorority house. She finds the door locked, and when the same masked man appears in front of her, she hits him in the face, only to reveal that he is part of a surprise party organized for her birthday. At the party, Danielle is upset with Teresa for flirting with Nick, the student with the mask. Teresa goes to his room, where Nick turns on the music. As Teresa turns her back to read a text from Danielle on her mobile phone, the killer with the mask appears and kills Nick. Danielle, thinking it is Nick, says that she has had enough, but then she notices the bloody knife in the killer's hand and Nick's dead body on the floor. Teresa tries to escape from the killer, but she ends up being killed again. In the morning, the same events occur again. Teresa freaks out and runs in panic on the campus. She retreats to the sorority house, and Lori is worried about her behavior. Teresa says that she has already lived this day twice and knows what is going to happen. She also discloses to Lori that someone will kill her that night. Lori advises Teresa to skip class that day and try to relax. Teresa does what she is told. She nails the window shut and locks herself in her room, preferring to avoid anyone until the next day. She sits down to watch TV and eat her cupcake, but as she searches for the remote control, she discovers a weird-looking card. Teresa notices that the TV is being turned off and on at its own volition and feels that she is not alone in the room. She grabs a hammer and searches around, but the killer surprises her and kills her again. Teresa wakes up again. Terrified, she screams and runs through the campus. When she is about to collapse, Carter comes and holds her things. Teresa hugs him and asks him to help her. Carter tries to understand why Teresa is stuck on the same day. He tells her that whoever is killing her knows that it's her birthday, and this day is symbolic. Carter writes down the possible suspects, but it turns into quite a long list. Instead, he suggests to Teresa to take advantage of the fact that she has an unlimited amount of lives and try to find the killer herself. Teresa begins investigating the suspects on her list, one after another. She watches Tim and finds out that he is gay before she is stabbed to death. She watches Gregory's wife, Stephanie, and she is drowned by the killer. She fights with Danielle before they are both run over by a bus. Teresa even walks out naked in the campus, knowing that no one will remember this. Later that night, Teresa lurks for the killer, but accidentally kills Becky before she is killed by the masked man with a baseball bat. The next day, Teresa wakes up, admonishing the futility of Carter's plan before passing out. Waking up in a hospital bed, Teresa thinks she is seeing the killer coming to her, but it is Carter who is visiting her. A power surge then occurs, and Gregory appears suddenly in the room. Carter leaves, and Gregory updates Teresa about her medical condition, saying that, judging from the wounds the x-rays have revealed, she should have been dead. Teresa attempts to leave, but Gregory assures her that she is safe in the hospital. Teresa asks for a soda, but that's only an excuse to get Gregory out and allow her to escape. Teresa sneaks into Gregory's office, searching for his car keys, and instead finds a baby mask. Horrified by this discovery, Teresa flees and runs into Gregory, who is stabbed and killed by a masked man. Teresa runs away and is pursued into the parking lot. She manages to get inside Gregory's car and successfully escape from the killer. Driving away, Teresa cheers before she is stopped by the police. She tries to explain herself and decides to say that she is drunk in order to get arrested and be put into a safe cell. The officer handcuffs Teresa and puts her in the back seat of his car, when suddenly a car runs him down. Teresa freaks out, seeing the killer appearing again. She screams and swears at him, telling him to take off his mask. The killer walks back to his car and takes out a lit candle, which he throws to the gas leak from the police car and blows Teresa up. In the same morning once more, Teresa does the same things. This time, Carter follows her and asks her what's happening. Teresa tells him that she is reliving the same day over and over again. Carter finds that hard to believe, but he is convinced when Teresa proves it to him. Later on, Teresa and Carter spend the evening at a diner. They talk about their parents, and Teresa expresses regret for being the horrible person she has become. A news bulletin alerts Teresa to the threat of a serial killer who is about to escape from the hospital. Putting the pieces together, Teresa finds out that this man is her killer. She goes to prevent his escape, but unfortunately arrives too late. The killer is already free. Teresa is being chased again. Carter comes to save her, but he is killed in the process. Teresa runs to the basement and the killer follows her there. She surprises him and knocks him down, but before she delivers the final blow, she realizes that if she kills her nightmarish murderer, she will not reset the day, and thus Carter won't come back. To avoid this, Teresa runs to the top of the stairs and hangs herself. The next day, Teresa is overjoyed to find Carter alive and thanks him for trying to save her life. She then walks through the campus, a different person, more positive and optimistic. She dumps Gregory, stands up for Becky, pours a milkshake on Danielle's head, and kisses Carter. Teresa even meets her father and makes up with him. That night, Teresa prepares to stop her killer. She goes to the hospital and, under the threat of a knife, disarms the officer that stands outside of the killer's room. She tells him to go and get help. Teresa walks into the room and pulls the trigger at the killer. But the safety is on and the killer attacks Teresa. They fight and Teresa falls down. She manages, however, to evade the killer and gets behind him. She turns the safety off and shoots the killer dead. A little while later, Teresa and Carter spend the night together. Teresa blows the candles on the cupcake, wishing for tomorrow. The next day, however, Teresa wakes up again in the previous day. Frustrated, she leaves and goes to her room. There, Laurie gives her the cupcake, and Teresa understands now that it was Laurie who wants her dead. She accuses her of poisoning the cupcake, and also for assisting the serial killer and sending him after her. Laurie denies the accusation, but when Teresa offers her to eat the cupcake and tells her that she is going to the police, Laurie finally reveals herself. She says that she wants to kill Teresa out of jealousy for sleeping with Gregory. The two girls fight. Laurie gets the upper hand, but Teresa stuffs the cupcake down Laurie's throat and kicks her out of the window, ultimately killing her. Afterwards, Teresa and Carter hang out at a diner, watching the news about Laurie's death and incriminating activity. Carter offers Teresa to sleep in his room, as her room is now a crime scene. Teresa agrees. Carter gives Teresa back her bracelet and talks with her about the movie Groundhog Day. The next day, Teresa wakes up in Carter's room and Carter says the same things as yesterday. Teresa is horrified, believing the nightmare isn't over yet, until Carter laughs, saying that she has made it to the next day. Teresa then gets angry and lashes out at Carter, who kisses her and lies down with her. She and Carter make out. End of story.